War Eagle, War Rapport family, I'm your host, C-Dub. Auburn Football lands another receiver out of the transfer portal, and Auburn Baseball gets a chance to do something special today that's pretty rare in its history. All that and more in today's Weekend Tailgate.
You are now listening to a War Rapport Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by
Athletic Architect.
It's your boy, Ike Jones. Be real. C-Dub. Mike G. Get ready. Sit on back as we bring you the War Rapport Weekend Tailgate.
War Eagle, everyone. War Eagle, War Eagle, War Eagle. You know, it's just me, Mike G, for now. Welcome, Mike. How are you, sir?
Amazing, obviously. Sunday.
Awesome. We want to welcome you guys to the latest Weekend Tailgate, brought to you by show sponsor, Athletic Architects. Guys, they help student athletes and their parents to help build their house by preparing them for future financial success. So, if you're a student athlete, parent of a student athlete, or you're interested in maybe starting your own LLC, you need to go visit buildthehouse.com. They'll get you on the right path. Shouts out to them for being a show sponsor. Now, I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us on this lovely Sunday. Shout out to all of you, our War Rapport family. We need you to do us a quick favor, though. You already know what's coming. Share this video, guys. If you're on social media, hashtag Get Your Weight Up, whether it's Facebook, Twitter. Spread the word. Share our videos. Help people find our content. Help us build our community. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, Mike G, we got some special. Listen, there's no such thing as the off season at the War Rapport. No such thing, right? Tell the people why you need to become a patron in June.
Listen, we got tons of patron content coming. We're trying to get through these announcements faster, so bear with me. Become a patron. We dropped a 2-part series with Coach Bryan Harsen. If you were a patron, you got that about 2 weeks before everybody else. So become a patron, and we've got more interview. Believe it or not, I believe we can top Bryan Harsen, and I believe that we will. In the next few weeks. So you want to become a patron. Some of that will be patron only. The film review portion will remain patron only. So we broke down each quarterback from A-Day with Coach Bryan Harsen. You don't want to miss that. So become a patron. Let's get this thing popping in here. We are partnered with the Lee County Humane Society to raise money for a good cause. Help us help them. Hashtag save all the puppies by going to the About section of our YouTube channel. Hit the donate button. 50 cents on every dollar donated goes to the Lee County Humane Society to help them save every puppy they can. We're giving away an AU t-shirt. You guys know the drill. Hashtag Get Your Weight Up in the comment section. We're going to draw at the 1 hour mark. This is brought to you by GWT2 Energy / War Eagle Oil. So that's our guy, Walt Taylor, in the comments. Give him a digital high five for these giveaways. We're on podcasts, every single podcast platform. You can check us out. We are the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport, and we're climbing the podcast charts slowly but surely. The podcast is growing, and we are doing podcast exclusive content. So every Wednesday, you will get something that you can only get on a podcast. But if you're on a run, doing chores around the house, the podcast is probably an easier form to listen to the show in. So please subscribe to the War Rapport podcast. Now, we have, I mentioned that we have some interesting things coming in the coming weeks. And one of those things is interviews. So we're doing even more interviews that you guys wouldn't believe, man. It's a lot of really good stuff that we have coming for you guys. So the next interview that we have coming up, if I can find it here, where are you? Yeah, Jason Jones. defensive tackle Jason Jones. We had a conversation with him. This is the Oregon transfer. So here's a little bit of that conversation. Why Auburn? You made the switch. I know that's a difficult decision for a lot of athletes these days with the portal, but why'd you leave Oregon and why come to Auburn?
When it comes to inside the program, I see what Harsen's trying to build, and on top of that, the strength training is amazing.
Big culture shift going from Eugene, Oregon to Auburn, Alabama. Robbie Ashford told us he complained about the lack of Chick-fil-A's in Eugene.
Well, I mean, it feels good to have Chick-fil-A. I'm joking, but
tell us first impressions of the defensive line coach, Coach Brumbaugh. Can you talk about Coach Brumbaugh? Like, what kind of guy is he in the room and all that kind of
one thing about Coach Brumbaugh, he really cares about you, no matter whether it's on the field or off the field. Like he calls me, we chat here and there.
In your estimation, based on what you've seen this spring, who's the fastest guy on this team this year?
Almost all the DBs are pretty fast, to be honest.
All right, I'm not gonna let you off the hook. If you got to put $500 on somebody to win a foot race, who you putting your money on, Jason?
You got to give up. You got to give up an NIL check.
Obviously, don't bet on anything, but
when I feel like when he's focused and when he really wants to run, then yes, he'll run fast.
Great conversation with Jason Jones. If you are a patron member, this is live to you already. For everybody else, Thursday is the day that you will get this. So please become a patron. Last but not least, want to give a shout out to the Rogue Shop. So they're a great sponsor of ours. Please visit rogueshop.com. Use code REPORT to get at least 10% off. And they're running 30% off on gummies, I think, for the next week or two. So definitely want to go check them out.
Indeed. Listen, part 2 of the interview with Harsen came out for everyone last Thursday.
Yes.
And one of the things we do with the War Rapport is we like to educate our listeners on football and how it works. And one of the things that stood out to me, Mike, in that interview is their evaluation process, because oftentimes we'll see a kid, we see stars by his name, we'll see Georgia, LSU, Bama, these schools looking at this guy, and we're asking, okay, why isn't Auburn in it for this guy? Why isn't Auburn targeting this guy if these schools are going after him or he has these stars by his name? And Harsen talked about fit, and how they'll look at a player and they will remind them of a guy who really produced for them in the past. And oftentimes, and he talked about Roger McCreary and how he wasn't highly recruited, but he saw him working hard when it wasn't practice time, and how it helped him become an elite player and get drafted second round. And so he talked about his process and what went into that. What stood out in that conversation as it pertains to recruiting for you with Harsen and his staff?
It's just, again, when he says fit, they're clearly evaluating differently. And you just got to find players that can play at a high level. But I think maybe for the next couple of years, Auburn needs to brace themselves for not getting many like phenoms, because Roger McCreary is a perfect example of a developmental player, right? Clearly has talent, works hard, and by the end of his college tenure, he's a dynamic player, but it takes a few years to get there. Some of these other schools are getting these kids that come in and they're instant impact players. If you're not going to recruit stars, then you're going to have to find those Roger McCrearys, and that's what he's talking about. So they're trying to start a pipeline, but that takes time. That takes a couple years to develop a Roger McCreary. And while Roger is developing, you're developing the next Roger behind him. And then you try to do that at as many positions as possible. That's what I took away from that. I just think, at the end of the day, it was a great conversation. We got a feel for it. They're leaning into NIL to help with the recruiting a little bit, but they're involving the families in those discussions as well. So he stressed that the family unit has to be a part of the NIL discussion, because you've got a lot of money people who are going to be coming in. And despite what a lot of fans think, that people are just handing out cash and not expecting anything in return, a lot of these are legitimate business deals where there's an expectation expectation that you're going to fulfill the obligations agreed upon.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out here. And I asked him during the interview, like, what is the pitch to a recruit when you're sitting in their living room about NIL? And, what he said was, go watch part 1 and part 2 of the War Rapport's interview to get the answers to that question. So very, very, very excited about what they're going to do in recruiting. And I think that, we should watch out for more of those developmental types in the future.
Indeed. Definitely go check out that interview with Harsen. It's up. Part 1 and part 2 are up right now, guys. So definitely check that out. And I think it has made people really get a close view of who Harsen is. I don't think you really get to see that when he engages with media and the press. So the special thing about our interview is that we actually sat down with him and talked football and talked his approach and his philosophy in terms of how he wants to run his program and his vision for Auburn. So definitely check that out, guys. Speaking of recruiting, Auburn had a visitor over the weekend. Wide receiver Koy Moore, who was the first player, Mike, to transfer out of LSU since it got announced that head coach Ed Orgeron would not return next year for LSU. That guy visited Auburn over the weekend. And it was a lot of speculation that Auburn was in good shape. In fact, certain person crystal balled him to AU on Friday. That became a story on certain media outlets, and it became official yesterday. Koy Moore, LSU transfer, commits to Auburn. Let's look at a little bit of who Koy Moore is. He's from Metairie, Louisiana, and interesting to note here is Louisiana natives Ike Hilliard and Trevon Reed played a very instrumental part in bringing him to AU. So something to note there from Archbishop Rummel High School. He's a former 4-star recruit from the 2020 class. He stands at 6 feet and about 174 pounds. And his first year, COVID year, he had 22 receptions for 177 yards, played 10 games. He entered the portal shortly after playing 2 games last year, only had 5 receptions for 71 yards, and he will have 3 years remaining. One of the things to note in terms of the scouting report for this guy, Mike G, is they mentioned that this guy can actually, he's good at high pointing the football, and he actually can make plays in traffic. He kind of projects as he can play on the outside, but he looks like a bit of a slot receiver. It seems like, and I keep reiterating this, we're going to look at the overall list of scholarship receivers in a minute. But Auburn, for the majority of their scholarship receivers, they're either 6'1" or shorter. There's a certain type of frame, a certain type of build that they're looking for, and it seems like this guy just fits in a nice little growing list of guys who fit that mold. It seems like they have a type guy here, a shifty guy who can get in space, find areas in the zone, and make plays. What are your thoughts on this kid?
22 catches for 177 yards his freshman year, and the story was that he got passed up. He got beat out his sophomore year by some upcoming freshman receivers. Now, LSU has been recruiting really well on the offensive side of the ball over the last few years. I think if Orgeron did anything well, he recruited well. So they started a pipeline at wide receiver and had some dynamic guys there. So he just kind of maybe got buried down the depth chart a little bit. But they believe that he can be an impact player. And I think that they believe he'll be a good fit with any one of our quarterbacks. TJ, Calzada, Robbie, the part of the evaluation process is, figuring out how guys fit with guys that you currently have. And I think he brings a little bit of playmaking ability to this wide receiver room. I'm not as down on our wide receivers as most people are. I think with better quarterback play this year, suddenly you're going to see the wide receiver room look much better. But for everybody who was complaining that we weren't landing receivers in the portal, this is the second one now that they've gotten out of the portal. I think this puts us at 81 scholarships. So we have 4 more that they can use before they reach the scholarship limit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's after the summer arrivals, the kids that arrived for the summer got here. So, man, listen, it is it's exciting that we're gonna have another guy in there to compete. Like I said, the stats, the reduction in stats in year 2 was just about him getting beat out. Now, he did have an off the field incident where he didn't get in trouble, but it involved police and police report, and they looked into some of his allegations, and I guess the consensus was it maybe wasn't as he said it was. But I don't know that quietly that may have something to do with why he had reduced load in year 2. You never know. If they handled that in-house, that could be they maybe gave the excuse that he got beat out. But so he's going to have to be on his P's and Q's here. I'm telling you, because this coach is not putting up
this is a little different. This is not what he knew at LSU for sure.
Yeah, this coach will give you the left foot of fellowship right out the door. So I think it's gonna be cool to see him compete, and we have some guys in here. We have some newcomers that nobody's seen as well too. Camden Brown. We got some guys.
We're gonna talk about them. We're gonna definitely talk about this receiver room because it's gotten a little interesting now.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, and Lawrence Robinson wants to ask: is he a speed guy? I think he's kind of in the mold of that since he projects as a slot guy. So I think he has good straight line speed. I'm not sure if he may be one of our fastest guys in the wide receiver room.
He's a mid 4.5 guy, maybe a 4.6 guy, so not blazing fast.
Right. So, but I think one of the things they've credited him is his skill set in terms of finding holes in his own, high pointing the ball, catching. He can about. But in terms of him being a speed guy, I think it's safe to say, Mike G, we have quite a few of those already. So,
we've got speed. We've got speed. Listen,
I think we're okay.
We're okay. But speed on this team, we've got. Robbie said we've got 30 guys that run 4.5. We're good. And we're good. We're good on speed, guys. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about the speed.
Mike, let's talk about our wide receiver room.
All right.
And let's talk about because before we get there, there was a lot of changes in the offseason as a result of the wide receiver room. Our leading receiver, Kobe Hudson, some trouble with there. He ended up not being. It was announced that he was no longer with the team. Transfers out. Javaris Johnson entered the transfer portal, and it just looked bad at one point. Well, since then, he returns, and Auburn brings in a new group of kids out of high school, and then we get 2 receivers out of the transfer portal, and all of a sudden, this is what our room looks like. You got Tavares Dawson, Jay Fair, you have Javaris Johnson, who does come back, Shedrick Jackson, your boy Malcolm Johnson Jr. I added Landon King in here as a tight end wide receiver hybrid. I'm curious to see how he gets used with this group in the upcoming year. Zevian Capers, who had a great spring game, an A-Day game. That's something I've been looking forward to seeing him do. You have J.J. Evans, and then you have some new faces who are coming this summer in Camden Brown, Amari Kelly, DeZalem Worsham, and Koy Moore, who we just finished talking about. Mike G, when you look at this room, it looks like we're going to be all right at the wide receiver position. What are your thoughts here?
Listen, Tavares Dawson is got speed to burn, as does Jay Fair. I'm not really counting on Javarius Johnson being a contributor this year. That's just my feeling, but I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't play a ton. Shedrick Jackson and Malcolm Johnson are probably your wide receivers 1 and 2. And both those guys have speed to burn as well, too. But Malcolm's shorter than I thought. I thought he was taller than that. 5'10", interesting. You've got Landon King, who's moved out there. They expect him to be a playmaker. We saw him display some of that playmaking ability during A-Day, going up and getting a touchdown from Holden. Xavier Capers returns. He's one of the taller guys, in this wide receiver room. We saw him making catches over the middle during A-Day, and then J.J. Evans also returns. But watch out for Amari Kelly and Camden Brown as well, too. These guys have a chance. Camden, 6'3", 202. He's a bigger receiver, has a chance to make a splash. DeZale Worsham bring some experience into that room, and now you've got Koy Moore, who also has real game experience.
Malcolm Johnson is 6'1", so that was a typo on my part.
Okay, I was gonna say, I was like,
he's 6'1".
All right. And these guys have guys. This is a good receiver room. This is a damn good receiver room.
Okay.
And they have a chance in year 2 to prove a lot of haters wrong. Now, if you are worried about drops, a lot of them left with Kobe Hudson, who led the team in drops.
Yeah.
So if you were complaining about Kobe leaving, if you're one of those people like, oh, we lost Kobe Hudson, well, he dropped the ball more than anybody on the team last year. So you should not be that upset. And that is production that we certainly can replace, especially if one of these young guys breaks out. I get everybody's apprehension about what they haven't seen, but I'm telling you that there is a ton of talent. Now, that brings me, it's hard to have a conversation about wide receivers without talking about quarterbacks even a little bit. Because the throw comes before the pass. I'm going to say it again. I'm sorry. Yeah, the throw comes before the pass. The throw comes before the catch. The throw. The ball is thrown, the pass is made, and then the catch is made. And if you throw a crappy pass, you lower the chances that there's going to be a catch. Last year, we threw a lot of crappy passes. And then we yelled at our wide receivers for all the crappy throws that got thrown to them. Now, could have some of those balls been caught? Sure. But I think, based on what we saw during A-Day, that if they throw the ball with the same consistency, you're going to see a lot of these catches look a little bit more routine, and suddenly people are going to be like, oh, our wide receiver room is so much better. Well, maybe they were never that bad. And, we have to spread the blame there for the passing game evenly between the quarterback and the receiver room. There were plays our receivers could have made. But you know what? I feel like part of being a playmaker is, it's just so hard, man. Like, think about all the dynamic, well, I won't say dynamic. Think about all the below average passers that had out catch anything that's thrown to them receivers over the last 20 years, right? Like, just all world guys. My favorite is probably Ken Dorsey, the most average quarterback of all time. He won almost every single game he played in college. And one of his 2 losses was the second national title game against Ohio State. Double overtime, or however many overtimes they went to. His receivers were like Kellen Winslow and Santana Moss. And these ridiculous guys that would just catch everything that was thrown to him. I want to say he either didn't get drafted, or
I don't know if he got drafted,
or went in one of the really super late rounds. And that's just very rare. And I feel like our fans want that. But that's more rare than the other way around. And then every once in a while, you catch lightning in a bottle with a dynamic passer and dynamic receivers. Because what's the kid's name from Bama that won the Heisman? Devontae Smith, right? Does not win the Heisman if Mac Jones isn't an elite passer. He just doesn't. He still has a pretty good year, but does he win the Heisman? No, because all the run after the catch isn't happening with inconsistent throws. Joe Burrow, think about how good Jamar Chase was. Amazing receiver. But Joe Burrow very rarely made him have to go out there and make circus catches. He was already good. And he got to go out there and catch pinpoint passes from his QB week after week. So, and then we saw at the next level that was real for both of them. Both of them, it was real for. And if you're not going to have it on both ends, right, you need your quarterback to help your receiver some, and you need your receivers to help your quarterback some. Now, I'm not saying we have to have Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase type production. I'm just saying we have an interview coming. I almost spilled the beans like a clumsy chef. We have to have the quarterback raise the floor, so that the receivers can raise their ceiling. I'll say it again. We have to have our quarterback raise his floor so that our receivers can raise their ceiling. Because there's only so much you can do when you're having to do acrobatics to make every catch. Or you go through a whole practice where your quarterback throws the ball perfectly, and then you go into a game expecting the same throw, and it's not executed the same way. Those micro adjustments on a route, man, when you are running full speed, the body control that it takes to stop when a ball is not where you expect it to be, it's hard. It takes elite athleticism to make those adjustments and make catches. And not every guy can do it. And so assuming that we don't have a bunch of those guys, I don't think that it's unreasonable to ask our quarterback to make it a little bit easier on these new guys and the guys that don't have a lot of playing experience. Because in this coming year, we're going to be presumably starting a guy who has been in college for 3 years. I think TJ Finley or Zach Calzada, we're going to march out there. If you send Calzada out there, you're talking about a guy who has a lot of experience last year. A lot of really good experience. You send TJ out there, it's his 3rd year. Yeah. This is the no excuse zone. It'll be Calzada's 3rd year in college, but this is really the no excuse zone. Get it done so our wide receiver rooms can look better than what they've looked. I think they have taken, similar to O-line, they've taken an undue amount of heat for their play. The drops were bad. Like, listen, man, drops are bad. I'm not excusing drops. Right, drops are bad no matter how you slice it.
And, just the demeanor of Ike Hilliard, I don't think he's going to have a lot of patience for that this year. Just a guess. It's just a hunch. Just a hunch. I could be wrong, but that's just the feeling I get.
Yeah, I don't know. So, like I said, man, our quarterback has to raise his floor so our receivers can raise their ceiling. Koy Moore will, he's gonna, don't cap him, man. Let's see what this kid can do. Throw him some catchable balls, and go out there and have practice on game day.
Yeah,
have practice on game day. Do what you did in practice on game day. Now, I think that was the problem a lot over the last couple of years is we do one thing in practice, and then we get in the game and do something completely different. Yeah. And then wonder why it looks inconsistent. Now, I think Bryan Harsen is bringing consistency back because he's bringing consistency back to the small things, to the routines. Show up on time. Small things that translate that the average fan can't quantify. I think it'll look better. I really think it'll look better. Koy Moore will be a part of that. If they're bringing him in, all these kids that they're bringing in, I'm telling you, if you were one of the pre-existing guys on this roster, every guy they bring in, you should be worried. Because they're bringing somebody in to take your spot. If you're Malcolm Johnson or Shedrick, and they bring this guy in, even though I think they're presumed starters at this point, and they have been working hard for all intents and purposes, this should make you push your game to another level past that.
Yeah.
Because they're bringing that guy in case you slip, there's an option. There's somebody to go to. But what we saw in year one with them just seemingly sticking with guys no matter what, that's not going to happen in year two, man. I'm telling you. Many guys will be shown the bench. Because Harsen can't afford to have he can't afford to do worse than he did last year. So It's going to be Georgia State every week. He's going to pull out all the stops every week to win games. I doubt we see a quarterback have a game like they did against Texas A&M and finish the game.
Yeah.
I doubt we see that. And I doubt we see receivers go out there and drop balls consistently over the first few games, because that's where a majority of our drops were in the first 4 games, and keep their spot. Not going to happen. Competition is back, baby. Get it done.
Ike, welcome, sir. How are you?
Good. Been running all over the place, but good.
Good to hear. Good to have you. Your thoughts on this latest pickup, man. And me and Mike talked. I don't know if you heard it, but again, we keep talking about how it seems like Ike Hilliard, Harsen, these guys have a type of receiver that they're looking for, and he seems like he's in another long list of guys that they've brought to Auburn who fits that mold. Your initial thoughts about him? Some of the scouting reports coming out of high school was that this kid does a good job of finding open spots in zones. He can catch in traffic, high points the ball, so on and so forth. I don't know if you had a chance to check him out or do any research on him, but your initial thoughts about our latest pickup.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at a little bit of his tape. I haven't done any exhaustive analysis on anything, but one of the things that definitely stands out when you watch him is his ability to catch in traffic. And I think that's one of the things that when you look at the composition of the wide receiver room right now, you just don't have a lot of traffic catch guys, right? We've got a lot of speed, shiftiness, guys who can, take it to the house. But when you look at guys who can catch in traffic consistently, I think Shedrick Jackson can be that guy for this team. Yeah. Landon King has proven that he can make the in-traffic catches. He's a bigger guy. Of course, he's a tight end, right? But he just has the ability to do that sort of thing. J.J. Evans is a guy who I've been wanting to see get some in-game stuff. He's been hampered by injuries, but he's definitely a catching traffic guy. And then Xavion Capers is the other guy who you would expect as a bigger receiver to be able to do that. Camden Brown, the freshman, is another guy who you hope to be able to see. The guy looks huge when you just look at him.
Yes, absolutely.
So I think they were just looking for someone who has one of the things that the transfer portal allows you to be able to do, as Mike G was saying earlier, is get guys who've already had experience playing. And so you don't have to teach them how to get up to game speed. They already kind of know what to do, and the moment won't feel as big for them while you're grooming the people who have not had as much experience to be able to do that sort of thing. But then the other thing that you get with the transfer portal is you immediately get competition, right? You're immediately bringing someone in who the guys who are in that room automatically know, if I'm going to play, I don't have a ton of room to slip. So, because someone's right on my heels who can step in and start playing immediately because they have that experience to be able to do that. So hopefully it does motivate some of the other guys that are currently in that wide receiver room to elevate their play, so that they know every rep that I take in practice, it needs to be focused and I need to get out there and get it done. What I'm doing off of the field, as far as going out and throwing and catching with some of the quarterbacks, or in the film room, or, right now they're doing summer workouts. It needs to be competitive in those summer workouts. We're not jogging through the sprints. We're not, skipping whatever thing it is. My reps are going to count every single time, and somebody's got to feel my presence on this field every single time I step on it. So hopefully we are getting to that place where people are being motivated to compete, and they're not shying away just because, oh man, they brought in another wide receiver. What does that mean for me? It means I need to go out here and show out. That's what it should mean. So hopefully they are taking that mentality into this whole situation. But Koy Moore, definitely a traffic catch guy, a guy who they expect to be a possession type receiver, and has the ability, if he gets into the open field, to do some things. So looking forward to seeing what he brings to that wide receiver room.
How do you feel about this receiver room? I'll show the list again. It seems like we got every type of receiver you would need. They just need the ball. Mm-hmm. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the Koy Moore, I think, was brought in to round out some things, right? Like, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but again, contested catches is enough, right? You don't have to be the biggest receiver in the world to be able to make a contested catch. It's really more about body positioning, route running, and then just being able to have strong hands and arms through the catch point. So yeah, you've got shifty receivers, you've got tall receivers that you can throw jump balls to, you've got the possession receivers that you can run the intermediate routes to. You've literally got everything that you need here in this receiver room to make a well-rounded group that's got depth, right? Like, that's the other part of it. Is like, if somebody gets injured, if someone's not playing up to snuff, if something's happening with someone, you've got depth to be able to move them out of the way and have someone else step right in, and you don't lose a type of receiver that you need. So we've got everything that we need at this point. It's just about people getting up to speed on what the actual the plays are, and making sure that they know where they need to be specifically for whatever the call is, and then go out there on Saturdays and producing with all that talent.
Good talk. Well, I'm interested to see what competition what comes of this in the summer as well as fall, and I'm curious to see how they use Koy. I'm happy we got depth, and I think that was a concern coming out of last season. Is we lost depth, and then we lost our highest producing receiver. Granted, he did drop some definitely key passes throughout the season. He led the team in reception, so there was a little bit of nervousness about what the production from this group would look like. I think they've answered those questions in this offseason, and so it gives me excitement, along with new receivers coach Ike Hilliard, to see what these boys are going to do in the spring, in the fall, and summer. So
let me say one more thing. I know we're about to transition. I just think, and Mike G alluded to this earlier, I just am curious now as to what is going to be the commentary around why Coach Harsen is a bad coach now. Because it was we're not getting anybody in the transfer portal. And then we got a bunch of defensive guys, and it was like, well, where are all the offensive talents? And now we're getting offensive guys, which, again, they disregard the fact that we brought in 2 quarterbacks and all that in the offseason, right? But still, now we get more offensive guys. I'm just wondering what the next thing is. And again, I understand he's got to produce on Saturdays in the fall, right? But just wondering what the next thing is of like, oh, well, but his last name starts with an H, and I don't like H last names. Like, it's just it at some point in time, you start running out of reasons why you don't want to be objective, and you start revealing yourself as someone who just was never in his corner to begin with. But you put War Eagle at the end of it, like that makes it different. But
right. I don't think Coach Harsen was the guy because of all the unsubstantiated, unfounded things I thought before he got hired.
Right.
That's what it was. And then I let my confirmation bias look at all the bad things that happened last season and say, see, this is why I thought he wasn't the guy.
Right.
Only the bad things, though.
Right.
Now, I'll tell you, this statement burns me up when I hear it. It does. The idea that this is the least talented team that we've ever had makes me angry. That
people are still dying on that hill, by the way.
Yeah, and it makes me angry. I think it's disrespectful to the hard work that a lot of these guys are putting in this offseason. And I think that we changed systems, so it looks worse. I didn't hear any of that Gus's last year. I just didn't. I didn't hear this is the least talented team. These are the least talented teams. And these are mostly Gus's guys.
Right.
So what is your problem really? To Ike's point, your problem is you don't like Bryan Harsen. Because what production did we lose that was so irreplaceable? Guys, we don't need a quarterback to be backyard Bo.
We didn't actually need Bo to be backyard Bo. We needed Bo to be
consistently average.
We needed him to be Arkansas Bo. Like, we needed, if Bo Nix from the Arkansas game last year was Bo Nix every game he started,
9 games.
We wouldn't have lost any games with him at quarterback. None. Absolutely none. Because he didn't do all of the LSU stuff in that game.
Right.
If he had been that guy,
3 throws, that's an awful game.
Yeah, if he had been that guy consistently over the years, Bo Nix would probably be in the NFL this year, even with that injury.
Right. Now, if you're wondering why, the reason I brought up Bo was because I feel like the idea that we're the most talentless team we ever had is because of his departure and Kobe's departure.
Right. Mainly those, though.
Yeah. So and I'm like, if losing one guy makes us the most talentless team ever, we weren't very talented to begin with. So this didn't start with Harsen.
Right.
But the narrative started with Harsen. So your issue is not our talent, or you would have said that Gus's last year. Your issue is Harsen. Turn in your fan card. Now, we're a fan channel. We're technically media, so we're supposed to be objective. But, I mean, we're not sitting here pretending to be unbiased.
Right.
And then hiding behind, I hope I'm wrong. Give me a break. Give me a break, man. Like,
we have got to get some censor buttons on this daggone show. Somebody's got to be perfect.
like an app that like just covers his mouth
I'm sorry, guys. I just get really upset about this because the more that we talk to the players, and you remember when we started this thing, we had a no current player rule. Like we're like, hey, we're going to stay away from current players because they can't really say anything interesting anyway, and we're not looking for hot takes. So, you know, I don't want to ask some kid to come on our show and say some crap that gets them in trouble with their coach. But NIL kind of changed the game.
Yeah.
Now, we're not paying for interviews, but it means that kids are speaking up more. So if they're going to be talking to anybody, they might as well be talking to us. And once you get into their minds and their hearts during these interviews and you see where they're at, even if I thought, man, we don't have any talent, it's just not something I would say out loud. Not as a fan. And not before they played a game.
Here's the thing, because again, we are still the no sunshine pump zone, right?
Right.
If they go out there and they play like crap, I don't care if we've done 4 interviews with them. I'm gonna come on here on a Saturday after the game or the Sunday after the game, and I'm gonna say I'm rating the play of this receiver group, blah, right? Because it happened, right? And I can't take away
what happened.
What actually happened.
Yeah.
But if you want me to project negativity, I can't do that. I can't project negative, especially not based off of it wasn't like some disastrous A-Day. Like A-Day wasn't a disaster. It wasn't like, what the heck was I just watching on A-Day, right? Like,
right.
Shank, just get ready to hate me for this. It's not like I watched Grant Lloyd go out there and play on A-Day, right? It was awful. I'm sorry. I don't know what you want me to say about Grant Lloyd's A-Day performance. It was awful.
It was bad.
So if I had seen a repeat of that from Robbie or TJ or from Holden, I'd have been like, yo, I don't know, bro. Like if we have to go too deep on this quarterback situation, I'm not confident in that.
It was objectively better than last A-Day. I don't know how you watch this A-Day and watch last A-Day.
Right.
And this is the year you're saying we'll have any talent. Like what? Last A-Day, Brian was making fun of me because I was like, what are we doing? What is this? This is supposed to be different. Like, I was so mad last A-Day because I was like, what are we doing? This year, I mean, we have a chance. Guys, I'm really excited about the potential that we have at quarterback, at wide receiver, at tight end. This is probably one of the best tight end in the rooms we ever had. We still have 2 very, very good running backs. And players
and then the third one coming in, who's pretty good,
bro.
And players are allowed to get better.
That running back room is nasty.
Nasty.
Right?
It's
nasty. I'm sorry. Like that running back room is the fifth guy in that room.
Yeah,
the fifth guy in that room, and I don't even know who's going to be number 5. Like, let's just say that the freshman is the 5th guy. Looks like a freaking beast out there,
right?
Bro, I'm sorry, man. I don't know.
Stop saying that we don't have talent, or stop calling yourself a fan. Stop rooting for Auburn, but then pointing out only the negative stuff.
Well, here's the thing. It's lazy thinking, Mike, because you're associating results with talent. If we had talent, we'd have a better record. So we don't have a good record. We don't have talent. But disregarding the whole transition of what's happening, the culture shift and everything that we had talented guys who couldn't get on the field because they just didn't want to work.
Oh man, guys, there are so many things that go on behind the scenes, right? It's so much more than what people think, right? I'm telling you, it's so much more. I mean, a guy doesn't see the field, and there are 15 reasons he could not be out there.
Yeah.
And as somebody who held Coach Harsen's feet to the fire about why we weren't seeing certain talent in those post-game pressers, I certainly asked those questions. Coach, why aren't we seeing Elijah Canyon? He was probably the most talented receiver we had on the roster. But
Right.
I'm telling you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, now I know there's no way we could have put him out there and kept this team in check. It would have sent the wrong message. And we know that now. In the moment, it was like, oh, man, like, why aren't we putting our best guys out there?
Yeah.
Now I know being the best guy is more than just about results on the football field. It's about the off the field stuff too. It's about the discipline stuff. It's about the leadership stuff. It's about setting a good example.
Right.
On the field, in the classroom, in the weight room, you know what I mean?
Right.
In the practice bubble. When nobody's looking, are you doing the right things? Are you taking care of your body? Are you going out too much? Are you in sleeping, studying, doing all the things that it takes to be a top tier athlete other than catching, kicking, blocking, passing?
And
right?
You would think that fans would celebrate that we have a coach who takes all this into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
You would think that.
Right.
Because those are the things that lead to success on Saturdays, everything you do Saturday through Friday.
But it takes time to build. So if we're just going to be super negative until he has a chance to build it, you're going to hinder his chance to build it.
Yeah.
Give it some time. A 1 year turnaround. I mean, if we get back even to 8 games, that's pretty quick turnaround for a complete system overhaul. The last time we did this, we won 3 games. And the powers that be were like, 3. Woo.
Right.
Let's blow it up. Bring us back. Let's go back to what we were doing before. This team was built to do something different. And I think it says something that he went out there and had a chance going into November to win the SEC West. With the group that he had. With the talentless bunch that you say we had. Because in terms of production, we didn't lose a bunch of guys. We lost like 2 or 3. Bo, Kobe, and Shivers were the most high-profile transfers we had. Shivers was not an every down back. Kobe dropped a bunch of balls. He was part of the wide receiver room everybody was complaining about. The guys filling his shoes you have not seen yet. But you're assuming that they're worse somehow. Sometimes the best guy isn't always on the field for a lot of reasons. And some of those best guys might hit the field this season. And everybody's going to be, they're going to say, he's going to get a more praise than is deserved for the immaculate turnaround. But the truth is, they were just never really that low.
Right.
That's it. The truth was in the middle.
Good talk, gentlemen. Listen, we'll pick back up in the second form part of the show. Guys, appreciate you watching with us. Please share this video. If you're watching social media, use hashtag Get Your Weight Up. Hey, do us a favor. Be nice. Like this video. Help us with our engagement. And if you're new to the channel, if you just found us today, today's your day to hit the subscribe button. All right? Get access to more of our content. Continue to support the War Rapport. Speaking of supporting the War Rapport, let's pause to acknowledge our sponsors.
This edition of the War Rapport is made possible by our generous sponsors. AuburnSports.com. For news and notes on all things Auburn Sports, head over to AuburnSports.com. Athletic Architects. For young athletes looking to secure their financial futures, let Athletic Architects help you start to build your financial house. Head over to BuildTheHouse.com. And our giveaway sponsor, GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. If you want the best in the business at restaurant logistics, check out our friends at GWT2Energy.com.
Become a patron. We got hella content. You definitely want some of this, but you gotta be a patron to get it. So hit our YouTube channel. $5.99 will get you there. A number of you guys have been signing up, so we appreciate that support. Please continue to sign up. Your support helps keep us viable, and keeps us kicking. We're giving away an AAU t-shirt. So hashtag get your weight up in the comments. We're going to draw at the 1 hour mark here. So we ran a little long. That's like in 10 minutes. But we're still going to draw. Hashtag get your weight up. Make sure you spell that right so you can get into that drawing. And you got to be here to win. So don't leave. We're on podcast. Every single podcast platform there is. The Auburn Express is present. So we're climbing the podcast charts. This is a really important part of our business. The Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport. We've got podcast exclusive content. As you guys continue to sign up, we're going to bring you even more content of that nature. So please continue to sign up. And shout out to our title sponsor, Athletic Architects. They're helping you build the house, man. This is really important stuff that they're doing. I could have used their services when we started the War Rapport, to be clear. So really happy with Athletic Architects as a sponsor. They've come on. They're doing some great things. You definitely want to go check them out. So please go check out Athletic Architects at buildthehouse.com. Let them help you build the dream, man. They handle the process of starting an LLC from start to finish. And if you've ever looked at that paperwork, you'll know why what they do is important.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. But before we get into the next topic that we want to discuss, given that the giveaway is away, let's get into some of the comments. We appreciate you guys commenting. We appreciate the super chats. We see them all. We try to get to as many as we can. Let's take some time during this little short period to go over the comments, starting with Jazzy. So we completed a challenge for last week, correct?
It was about
home runs.
Yeah,
Home
runs.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. We'll talk about that in a minute. But yes, we won that challenge. So appreciate that, Jazzy. Definitely appreciate it. Big Gap. Thanks for being on, brother. He says, shout out to my War Rapport family for putting us on the Chill Boys. My boys are comfortably chilling.
Hey, listen, we're here for that.
Should, Big Gap.
We're here for that.
So, like, okay, so no, this is actually true, not just because they sponsor us. So they sent us some product, right?
Yep.
And so for those of you who don't know, I do hip hop, right? Shows and such. So like I had an event that I had to do outside one day, and I was like, I'm finna see what's up. And so I wore them for that event. It actually works. I was like, okay, man.
They're amazing.
This is quality right here. I was not upset at the results for being outside for like hours hosting this event in the sun and all that kind of stuff. I was like, all right.
Your boys didn't even know you were outside.
I was like, I might have to actually go cop some of these for myself. Like this is legit.
Yeah. You know what? This is like a perfect spot for the Chill Boys. Let's run the Chill Boys ad.
Yeah, my
Treat your boys. Chill Boys underwear is designed for maximum comfort with enough space to keep you cool, calm, and comfortable. Chill Boys underwear will help you keep the boys close, not too close. When the game is on the line, you won't break a sweat with Chill Boys underwear. Whether it's left boy, right boy, or both boys, Chill Boys provides your boys comfort like you never felt. Maximize your chill with Chill Boys.
Boys means balls. That's what that means.
I guess this is my what did we see? I just keep laughing with this left boy, right boy.
They actually have a pretty funny YouTube short.
I was about to say that came from them.
Yeah. They have a YouTube short where a guy's sitting there and he's got a boy on his right, a boy on his left. He's like, these are my boys. I'm left boy. I'm right boy. So I drew that script from that. But they are great sponsors. And yes, their underwear is good, as are their socks, man. The socks feel like skin on your feet, but like, you know what I mean? Tougher.
No, but no? Okay.
Before I say that, I try to think about it.
Yeah, very light. It feels like it doesn't.
I was about to say I already have skin on my feet.
I don't feel.
No. You know how
I feel my skin. That sounds uncomfortable.
If you sleep with socks on, you're a psychopath.
No. Okay, I was about to say I don't do that.
But I laid down in bed with some Chill Boy socks on, and I felt like I was like. It was about 30 minutes before I realized I still had socks on. I was like, oh, wow, these feel like almost like nothing, but they're on.
Gotcha.
That's what I meant.
Okay.
That's what
I'm following you now.
Okay.
Before I was
All
like
right.
skin on your feet. Yeah, I got that.
Like, I don't want to feel my skin on my feet. That sounds. Jazzy asks, we got to get some chill cats for the ladies.
I am not responsible for their products.
Hold on, wait.
We will
Hold on,
pass
don't take
that
down.
along.
I gotta send this. I send all feedback to our guy. I send all feedback to our guy Kevin over at Chill Boys. So this is that's actually pretty hilarious.
Yeah, let's see. What else do we have over here? Lawrence Robinson jumps in. A lot of these folks added were freshmen. How many of these guys we added will actually contribute? When you say a lot of these guys were freshmen, I don't know that. We didn't add a ton of freshmen.
I know Zaylen.
He was a redshirt freshman, but he's not
a
like
redshirt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Koy Moore is not a freshman. Like most of the defensive guys are not freshmen. So
Right.
So to answer the second part of that question, how many of the guys will actually contribute? I don't know the answer to that. I think maybe you're talking about guys that came in during the summer. A lot of those are freshmen.
Probably.
And how many of those guys will contribute? I don't know the answer to that, right? Like, I don't think that the coaching staff is opposed to playing freshmen. I think it's just going to be about who is performing at the best level that's going to get the job done. So how they perform in fall camp is really going to determine how well that they're going to contribute. And then, of course, there's injury stuff, right? So you never know. But I think that there's a ton of talented guys out there that are ready to contribute.
JT Martin, appreciate you watching with us and appreciate the super chat. I don't think it's really about Harsen, though. I think he's just catching the skepticism of Auburn fans after being hopeful for so long and seeing Georgia and Bama continue to prosper.
Yeah, I actually disagree with that, because a lot of the people who are giving the Harsen flack were Gus fans, and had Gus stayed, Gus would not be catching this same flack. He wouldn't. Now, I'm not saying that there's not a crossover of people who they just have frustrations with the direction of the program in general, and Harsen is reaping some of that. I'm saying that the vast majority of the I don't like Harsen people who he can do no right with were people who didn't want to see Gus leave. And
yeah, true.
The only replacement that would have been suitable for Gus would have been if we had somehow put Nick Saban in a cloning machine and brought him to the Plains. That's it.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Like, listen, at the end of the day, it is the Gus apologists that are screaming the loudest about,
because this is like they're told you so.
100%.
This is their told you so.
They've had this in their back pocket waiting. Yeah. And when we were doing well at the beginning of last season, and we had 6 wins, and they were very quiet. No, they weren't. And this is they weren't even cheering. They were just silent. And then when it went downhill, they were like, "See, I told you this would never work." They were waiting for it to go bad so that they could say, "I told you this would always happen." And it must be Coach Harsen's fault, because Gus would have gotten us 10. Mind you, a lot of these people will say this. So again, this is why I say it's not just about anybody in this position. It's specifically about Harsen. They will say to you, Gus would have, with this team, would have won X amount of games last year. So you have to be careful. Listen to what people are saying, and they tell you their true intent behind what they're saying.
What? Okay, and while that may be true,
it's not true. But continue.
That he may have pumped out his standard 8 games.
Yeah, he
didn't. The point, I'm telling you, the point is we changed systems, so we were always going to take a step back. There should have been expected. I was hopeful. I was one of the ones that was like, hey, man, this could be a 10-win team. I stand by that statement. It could have been.
Mm-hmm. We're on our way to being that.
Yeah, if some things had gone right, it could have been. My point is, though, is that, like, you can't just say Harsen couldn't take a bunch of guys not built for a system and win the same amount of games as Gus did with those guys, and then act like that's a rational statement. That's not a rational, logical conclusion. And offensive line is probably the biggest example of it I have of this. These linemen were built, and we've been on this lineman strength and conditioning thing for a while, since before Harsen that came in. And we talked about how, man, the strength and conditioning program seems to be lacking. And I was on Ryan Russell for that. And JG kind of walked me off that ledge and said, but if the coach is telling you to make the guys a certain way, he's taking his marching orders from somebody. It was Gus. He wanted linemen built to be, a little bit more agile, be able to get out in space and move and do some things. That doesn't bode well for smash mouth football. So
Right.
Harsen comes in, and he's not going to waste a year trying to play Gus ball just because his linemen aren't built for big boy football. They had to play the brand of football that their system requires. And the results were less than stellar. But after 2 years in the weight room under this new strength and conditioning program, you can transform your body enough. One season, it's really hard to do. Like, listen, if you've ever gone through a strength and conditioning program of any point, if you've ever tried to lose weight, you know that 1 year, it's really hard to achieve lasting results in 1 year.
Right.
That's why so many people struggle losing weight. This is because before they can see the progress, they get discouraged and they quit. Like, this is kind of a weird segue, but it's why, all these fad diets, why they make you quit sugar for 2 weeks and they make you do all these extreme things is because your body drops water weight in the first 2 weeks, right? And when you step on the scale, you think, oh, I'm losing weight. And that is encouragement psychologically to keep going with the diet because you feel like it's working, because you see the results fast enough. Yeah. But anybody who has ever gotten in shape, I'm telling you, somebody who weighed 315 pounds at one point and dropped all the way down to 195, I can tell you the consistency and the time that it takes to drop the weight and get in that kind of shape takes time. It is months and months of the right things over and over again, like it's a lifestyle until you get there. It's not any different for these athletes. So when this is why PEDs became a thing. People were using performance-enhancing drugs to try to shorten the time that it takes to get your body into a certain shape. But if you're doing it the right way, it does take years. Yeah. You have to be patient with that process, man. I'm telling you. So, and year 2, after 2 years in the weight room, though, I think it is reasonable for us to expect our run blocking to be much better, because that's where I think most of that strength, that lack of strength, showed up last year.
Yeah,
it was in run blocking.
And as you alluded to before we get to this, we're no longer faking people out with where we're going with the ball. We're running right at you, but you need bodies and people in shape to actually move people because we're running right at you.
Yeah, man. Time to move mountains.
Before we get to the giveaway special moment of the show, you already know what it is.
Yeah. Welcome to another Jazzy Challenge.
Jazzy asks, where am I for 100? 50 if you guess the state that borders it. Now, he was in Wyoming last time?
Yeah, I'm going to go Texas again. I'm going to Texas. I think he went south this time.
Hold on. When was the last time that we just do this Wednesday?
Wednesday, he was in Wyoming.
He was in Wyoming Wednesday. So he's going to be on the opposite side of the country.
I know, right?
I don't lock me into that Texas answer.
He is going to be in.
I'm gonna go Pennsylvania.
Where is this mofo?
I'm gonna go North Carolina. I'm just gonna go the exact opposite side of the country. Just yeah.
He was at a truck wash 8 hours ago.
He went and checked his Twitter. Mike's doing the investigative journalism. See, this is why you come to the War Rapport, man. We get in here and we get to the nitty-gritty details.
I'll just stick with Texas. He didn't leave. He's getting smarter. He leave any clues out there. But yeah, I'm going with Texas.
Usually our people are saying Cali. Okay, Maine today.
We'll see.
Okay, we'll see. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Pennsylvania. All right, fellas, giveaway time. In case you don't know what we're giving away, we are giving away an AU t-shirt. courtesy of GWT2 Energy Consulting Services. You already know what to do if you want to enter to win. Hashtag get your weight up in the comments. Gives you an opportunity to do just that. And Ike, how many we got?
Currently, there are 42 in the drawing. We will see who it is this week getting their AUT shirts. We're already in hot water with Mrs. Wilson, so hopefully we at least see her name flash. No. Deborah Howard.
Deborah
Deborah
Howard.
Deborah Howard, you know what the deal is. You need to put something in the comments to let us know you are still here so we can get you a t-shirt.
Comment that you're here to claim your prize.
Illinois, Jazzy says, is where he is.
Boo.
I was gonna go Midwest again, but I went Midwest last time.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Deborah Howard is here.
Hey.
Boom. Deborah Howard, you know what the deal is. If you don't know, now you know. You need to send us an email to business@the-War Rapport. I need your address and your shirt size to be able to get that out in the mail to you. We will get out to you as ASAP. Appreciate you for continuing to be rocking with the War Rapport.
Indeed. Phil Petway mentioned, I noticed how Harsen, and I guess he's referring to the interview, the second part of the interview that got released on Thursday. He made reference to the NFL draft when talking about player evaluations. And so Phil Petway basically says, I noticed how Harsen pays attention to the NFL draft and what goes into picking a player. He's doing it the right way. Thoughts, gentlemen?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. His evaluation is he's not just letting rankings of who has the most stars be the end of the conversation. He wants to know because, as Mike G again mentioned earlier, in this age of NIL, there's a lot more that goes into being a college athlete than just showing up and playing football, right? And there's way more distractions. So he wants to know what your home life is like. What is your family like? Who are the influences that are around you that are going to be so let's just take, for instance, this, as he said, his renewed commitment to the region of Alabama, Georgia, right? That means a lot of the people who you grew up with are in driving distance to your university. And if they ain't got nothing to do and they just pop up on campus, are you a guy that's going to be like, hey, I can't, not today, bro. I'm good. How good are you and the people around you with keeping you focused on what the goal is? And those are things that are going to be important because those are going to translate to how well you are at focusing on football and getting your grades done. Those are things that are going to matter. So he's looking at all of those dynamics in determining, is this person not just a style fit, a skill fit, but a culture fit as well? And those things are going to matter ultimately. And that's what the NFL tells your life apart, man. They want to know everything.
Yeah, especially if you're going to be a first-round pick. If they're going to take you in the first round, the interviews are intense. They have private investigators on these teams that go and dig into your life. And they want to know everything about you before they invest millions of dollars. So the evaluations are intense, and they still get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah,
right.
So,
but it's not going to be because they didn't do the due diligence, though. Is the point? Yeah.
Right. Joshua Jordan asks, do you guys think our offense will look similar to 2017 with a lot of quick screens since we have a lot of shorter, speedy receivers?
Nope.
I think that there's going to be some of that, right? But I don't know. I think that, again, when you look at, if you've heard me talk about how it seems like the coach this is the type of quarterback he wants to go after, you don't go get 3 big arms and throw screens all day. Right. He went and got TJ Finley, Zach Calzada, Robbie Ashford, all have big arms. I just don't. I think screens will be a portion of what we do just because they're going to need to be able to mix it up and go vertical and horizontal. But I don't think that that's going to be the end all be all. I think that these quarterbacks and this coaching staff want to have deep play and deep threat ability. So a lot of the speed is going to be to stretch the field as well. So the shifty receivers are going to get their chances. But listen, look at A-Day. a lot of what you were seeing in short passes, those were going to running backs. It wasn't,
Yeah.
Quick sprint. They did a couple of them, but a lot of what you are going to see is going to be tight ends working the middle of the field. You're going to see deep shots. You're going to see they want to stretch the field, make these secondaries and linebackers think twice about how they have to come downhill against the run so that our run game can be more effective. And so you're going to see some of that, but I think the emphasis is going to be on the intermediate and deep throws to stretch the field and make sure that we're getting a comprehensive look, the defenses are getting a comprehensive look at what they have to go up against.
All right, guys, let's get into the second discussion of the show. Let's talk about something that we normally don't discuss. Let's talk about Auburn baseball, guys. As you know, Auburn is currently hosting a regional in Auburn. And yesterday, Auburn put up a football score against Florida State, beating them to the tune of 21-7, improving to 2-0 in the regional. Auburn was led by senior shortstop Brody Moore, who led the way with 5 hits and had 2 walks. So he got on base every time at bat. He scored 4 runs himself and drove in an extra 5 runs. And starting pitcher Joseph Gonzalez earned the win, allowing 3 runs on 4 hits through 6 innings. He struck out 3 and walked 4 on a total of 96 pitches. With this, red-hot Auburn has scored 40 runs on 39 hits. That's including 8 doubles, 2 triples, and 10 home runs, which is how Mike appropriately helped us win the Jazzy Challenge from last week. They've done this through 2 games. Auburn will play today in the regional final later today at 6 p.m., where they'll face the winner of UCLA, Florida State, which is currently underway. A win today will advance Auburn to its 4th super regional in program history. Auburn is averaging, I know it's just 2 games, but it's crazy to say Auburn is averaging 20 points a game in baseball. That's just crazy to me. I'll ask you, Mike G, winning this regional, considering the type of spring Auburn has enjoyed this year, how significant would a win tonight be for Auburn in terms of what we've already experienced up to this point?
Well, first and foremost, getting out of the first round is super important, right? Like, so if I understand how I've been taken to school on how the NCAA baseball tournament works. In basketball, you win a game, you move, you lose, you're out. This first round is double elimination. And so because we have not lost, my understanding is that we have to win 1 out of the next 3 to move on. So
it's double elimination. Yeah. So
right. So we have to lose 2.
Yeah. Whoever wins the game that's going on right now has to play Auburn and beat us twice. Yeah. So they're going to play a doubleheader today. So the winner of the game plays Auburn this afternoon. If they beat Auburn this afternoon, they have to beat Auburn again tomorrow in order to advance. So Auburn has to win either this afternoon or win tomorrow to advance.
Yeah. So I would say that it's gonna. I don't know. I was watching last night, and we did like a Twitter Space test broadcasting during the game, and I'm not a baseball guy at all, but there was a ridiculous amount of offense in that game. We had a scary inning where Florida State scored like 4 or 5 runs, and I was like, ugh. I started Googling biggest comeback in NCAA tournament baseball.
We only had, I think we had like 15 at the time when it happened, and they they closed it to within like 9 or something like that.
Yeah, and I was like, ooh, okay. But this is pretty, in terms of like spring sports at Auburn, it's pretty historic, I think. Like, this is a crazy run that our spring sports have had.
Yeah.
Almost all of them. It's so great, man.
It's amazing how you can have a terrible AD and all of your sports be good. Huh.
Yeah.
Or maybe the ADs actually. I don't know. Anyway, go. Sorry.
Yeah. So like, I just I don't know. Like, I just really think that this is a testament to the type of athletic department. This is Bruce Pearl's dream, right? Everything school. He was at the game last night.
Yeah.
He was at the game last night. And Auburn is more than just our football team. I know we hang our hat there a lot, but a lot of the other fans hate how much joy our fans have had outside of football this year. They thought we were going to hang our heads all off season about the year that our football team had, when the truth was basketball gave us a lot of joy. Gymnastics gave us a ton of joy. Equestrian gave us joy. Swimming and diving gave us joy. And now baseball. Look at these guys representing. And I don't care if they bring home the title or not. This was a great feat. They hosted a regional. A lot of people felt like we did not deserve that regional.
Yeah.
Too. I heard that narrative because the way the writers were talking about it, it seemed very improbable that we were going to get it. So you get awarded it, and then you go and put up 40 runs in 2 games to prove why this is why you gave us a regional. I think it's great. I always wonder if like home field advantage is like a thing in baseball for real. When you're playing football, because nobody's really loud when the opposing hitter is up. Yeah, I just wondered how much it mattered. I don't know if that's a
sure it may matter.
Right,
it matters to the players to be home, and that's a part of it. That's a part, but
hitting in your own ballpark, like is it really that different from what I mean? Is the environment really that different? I mean, people are loud when something good happens, but for the most part, the rest of the game, it's just kind of is what it is. But like, if there was a home field advantage, we certainly took advantage of it, and I just thought it was good. You saw anybody who was anybody in Auburn athletics was at that game last night. They didn't show Coach Harsen, so I don't know if he was there. But it was funny to see.
I think
Bruce
he's
Pearl
actually out
around.
recruiting still. So
okay, yeah, maybe. And seeing Alan Green sitting there, which by the way, we might, I don't know, for his, I don't know if his birthday just passed, so we missed it. But might have to get him a set of AirPods for his birthday. He was holding his phone to his face, and I was like, why is he doing that? It's just really weird. He was on the phone talking, and so just seeing the support that's gone behind it, I think is very special. And hopefully these guys can do what they need to do. It's very likely that if we win if we win a game, we're going to have to go to Corvallis to play Oregon State. Is my understanding.
Oregon State won today.
They won last night.
Someone in the comments can let us know how
they're playing San Diego, I think.
Yeah, so Oregon State has to win, right? So if they lose, then the Super Regional will be at Auburn. So it just kind of depends on what Oregon State does to handle their business.
Yeah. I know again we haven't kept up closely with baseball, but of course we're here to celebrate when Auburn does well in all of our sports. Ike, your take on what Auburn can achieve being its 4th potential super regional?
Listen, man, they did pretty much. So let me just say this: Florida State's defense is awful. Like they were awful. I was sitting there like they had so many like poorly handled ball. They were just not doing what they needed to do in the infield. They were misreading, the deep ones and the outfield. I'm just like, yo, what are they doing, bro? Like, I see why they went 15-15 in conference. Like, they just were not. The consistency of their ability to field was bad.
Their fielding was really bad.
I was like, good Lord, these guys just they look like me out there playing baseball.
Was it just bad. Nerves? Like
I don't know, man, but it wasn't good.
B said they didn't have on chill boys.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. I'm going to contact their AD and get them a pair for next
after
season.
This game. After this game. Yeah.
But I just don't like it. We benefited a lot from errors and just misplay in the outfield. But outside of that, though, like they were absolutely smacking the ball. Like even the ones that didn't get out of the park were good contact, deep shots. Like it was impressive the hitting from yesterday from that Auburn squad. Like, it wasn't just power, it was location on, just it was patience at the plate. Like, there were some instances we were sitting there talking, and I was like, oh, he's definitely going to swing at that one, because they were so far ahead in the count. And just, we're going to be patient and let the pitcher gas himself out. He's going to have to throw 9 or 10 on this at bat, because I'm going to foul a few of them off. I'm going to wait and let it get to a full count. They got quite a few walks from just being patient and letting their pitchers. It's like, you make them throw you strikes. That's exactly what they did. It's like, I'm gonna make him throw me a strike, and if he threw me a strike, I'm killing his joint. And they did a really, really good job of being patient, waiting for the pitches they wanted, and taking advantage of them when the guy missed. So it was an excellent job by the Auburn bats. Defensively, we did pretty well too. I mean, there was an infield shot where the guy, I think it was the shortstop, he's covering, did a really great job of catching it before it got to the outfield turn, and it prevented what would have been a base hit.
Brody Moore.
Yeah, man. It's just, it was good, man. I liked what I saw. The pitching was pretty good. When we went to the bullpen, it was a little shaky for a minute, but overall, really good starting pitching.
Is Moore the switch hitter?
Yeah.
He hit a home run from both sides of the plate in the same inning.
Yeah. So, like I said, man, it was just good, man. It was good to see it. I enjoyed it. Like I said, baseball is not something that I watch routinely throughout the year, but it was good to watch good baseball being played by Auburn. So
good sports, man. Yeah. Like, listen, I'll tell you what. I rag on baseball a lot. I don't think it's America's pastime anymore. Yes, I said that. It's slow. It's one of the only sports where you can not watch for 5 minutes and literally not miss anything. However, if you go to a baseball game and you watch in person the skill with which it takes a person to throw a baseball accurately 90 feet across a diamond, it's impressive. It's an impressive skill set that these guys have out there on the diamond. Like, I'm just watching professional baseball players throw a baseball is amazing to me. And I compare it to the first time when I was living on the Jersey Shore. I would drive down.
And by the way, they said it was Cole Foster.
Cole Foster. Okay. Cole Foster. Yeah. He's the switch hitter. Yeah. When I was living on the Jersey Shore, I would drive down to Philadelphia every once in a while to see King play when he was playing with the Eagles. And he'd get us tickets to the game. And this year was 2009. The first game of the season, they were playing the Saints, the New Orleans Saints. And the first time I saw Drew Brees throw a football in person, it was incredible. I was like, damn, he's good. Like, you don't get a gauge of it on TV all the time. But when you go and watch in person and just watch him throw, I was like, man, like, he's talented. It was pretty amazing to watch. And so I have a high respect for the amount of skill that it takes to play the game of baseball, even if I think it's boring. Because not everybody possesses those skill sets. The hand-eye coordination that it takes, you know what I mean? And, they're just very skilled at their craft. I thought they showed a high level of skill yesterday. We had back-to-back jacks at one point midway through that game.
Yeah.
I think it was Foster and Teixeira that went back-to-back, if I remember correctly.
Teixeira's been an excellent portal pickup.
Sanford product.
Yeah, man.
We went up to Birmingham.
He's been an excellent pickup in the portal. A very consistent power hitter. And by all accounts, really just an overall good guy in the dugout. So, I mean, in that locker room. So it's been good.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
So what do we got, guys? Does Auburn wrap it up tonight? What do we think?
I mean, I think it depends on who it is. If it's Florida State again, they may have something to prove. I think that they can probably play better. But I from what I have been seeing from this game, nobody's producing any offense, and they're going to need to score runs.
We've got 40 runs in 2 games.
Right. So I just don't know. I don't know that either of the two teams that could potentially face Auburn this afternoon have the pitching to be able to shut down what the offense is producing right now. But, we'll see.
Yeah, here's the other thing that's probably going to be understated is that their pitchers are probably tired. They went through
Right.
3 pitchers in one
That's
inning.
that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
they ran through a
Yeah.
lot. So if it's Florida State, I just don't know that they've got enough left in the tank. They're going to exhaust most of their pitching staff this morning.
Right.
Like they went through 4 pitchers, 5 pitchers yesterday. They're probably going to throw another 2 or 3 out there today.
Yeah.
Who's going to have an arm that's going to be lively enough to go pitch?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Meanwhile, I think we only put 2 guys out there yesterday.
Yeah. 3. We had 3.
3.
Okay.
3.
Yeah. Because I was like, man, I mean, our starter went 6 innings, maybe.
Yes, he went through
went
6 innings.
6 innings, and then we used 2 between, from the 7th.
And it got shaky. It got shaky with the first one that we put in.
Yeah. I got nervous for a second there. I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, I don't want to be on the wrong side of history on this one.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think the cards are stacked against whoever we play.
Yeah.
Because
that's intentional too. You get rewarded for winning. So it's like if you lose, you got a much tougher route to get there. So
right. It's really pitching though, I think that you're most concerned about.
For sure.
Because in a blowout, I mean, baseball players are just they're not expending that much energy. Right? Like you're sitting in a dugout and you're just sitting there waiting on your turn at bat. And like even if you round the bases, like how much energy are you really expending during an inning at bat, right? Like, you know what I mean?
It's really about your pitchers. It's really about your pitchers.
And then in the field, I guess you will expend a lot of energy if you're chasing around fly balls, missing fly balls and line drives, sure. But that's why but FSU was doing that last night. We weren't.
Yeah.
No, I really do think there's an edge, and it would take a small miracle, but mostly a meltdown on our part to lose a game to them at this point.
Yeah. We'll definitely see, especially, I think someone said that they're currently tied at 0, UCLA and Florida State. Are they still in the 5th inning? Or are they in the 6th? Yeah. Okay. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on that. And, of course, you can see Auburn in a few hours later on, and hopefully they will wrap up their regional here, and we'll find out what happens for the super regional. So definitely looking forward to that. Cheering on the good guys. Hopefully they bring it home. Let's pause to acknowledge another show sponsor or a sponsor of the War Rapport. Let's shout out Rogue Shop.
This episode of the War Rapport is brought to you in part by Rogue Shop. Looking to reduce stress or improve your quality of sleep? Rogue Shop has you covered with a wide range of premium products, including gummies, bath salts, and oils. Go to rogueshop.com and use code RAPPORT when you check out. That way, they know we sent you. All right?
Rogueshop.com. Please go check them out. Use code RAPPORT for anything non-gummy related. But they're running a sale. I think today might be the last day of the sale, so go check them out, please. Rogueshop.com. They got some good stuff. I've heard the reports from my friends. Everybody, all you guys have been amazing going to Rogue Shop. Please continue to support them.
Thank you, Mike G. You guys got anything else you want to add into this discussion?
No, man, baseball is awesome right now. It'd be nice to bring home a ship, though. It would be nice to bring home a ship because it would shut up a lot of bammers.
Haven't we kind of done that?
No, because they seem to think because they win championships at football that all our efforts, while impressive, are for naught because we're not bringing home any championships. And I'm like, but outside of football, y'all ain't bringing home no championships either. And you're still not going as far as Auburn is. Now, you had your little Bama minion, what's-her-face, all over Twitter, down in our girls in gymnastics, talking about how Suni Lee hated Auburn. She's not coming back. Almost nothing that girl said would happen happened. Nothing. Suni came back. Auburn made the Final Four. And they picked up a 5-star gymnast, some freshman phenom, for next year as well too. Dorian Goburn is coming back, man. Come on, man. Like these girls are going to have an all-star squad this year. But they came up just short, and none of those girls had been in a Final Four before. They never made a championship round. So, but they got the experience. I think they'll be able to take into next year. And because the way gymnastics is judged is somewhat subjective, having all those girls come back increases the likelihood, I think, that Auburn goes back to the Final Four. Because if you liked them last year, it's going to be the same squad, just about.
Yeah.
Plus a phenom. So, but they didn't bring home the ship, man, and we just got to bring home the ship. Our equestrian team finished runner-up. Man, it would just be so nice. And baseball, God, you have to play so many games.
Yeah.
You have to play these series, and to bring home a championship in baseball, I think would be fantastic. It would be something really good for Auburn athletics to hang their hat on.
For sure. That is one of your three major sports, so you definitely would like to see it happen there. Before we get out of here, we have another.
Yeah. Welcome to another Jazzy Challenge.
I'm gonna let you go first, Mike, since you was the one who brought home the 300 last week.
I think he's saying I specifically have to answer this one.
Yeah. That's
Ike.
It's for Ike.
Yeah.
We got to stay out of it then.
That's right.
No pressure, Ike.
I'm on the sideline.
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes. They're gonna hit another 3 home runs today. I just think
6.
that I think the bats are live right now, and the pitchers for the opposing teams are going to be tired. So we'll get 3 more today.
Facts.
Okay.
Facts.
All right. There it is.
Amazing.
There it is.
What time is the game?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. All right. NBA Finals is on tonight.
Maybe 7 your time. So
that game was 4 hours, man.
Yeah,
that baseball game was over 4 hours.
Pretty lengthy game there.
I was sitting here at 11.
I mean, with all that offense, it's not like you're getting people out regularly. So yeah, I'm hoping it'll be. It's hard to expect that much production offensively, but I look for us to get the job done tonight
for sure.
Mike G, tell the people what they need to be doing, man, in the off season, sir.
Hey, man, listen, become a patron. You guys know the deal. Join an exclusive club of extraordinary gentlemen. Become a patron of the War Rapport. $5.99 will get you there. Also, you can be extraordinary by donating to the Lee County Humane Society. They're raising money for a good cause, so we appreciate the work that we're doing. Go to the About section of our YouTube channel, hit the donate button, and 50 cents on every dollar goes to them. Check us out on podcasts. We're on every single podcast platform, climbing the podcast charts. You can get exclusive podcast content from the Auburn Express, powered by the War Rapport. Most of you guys are listening to us on Apple. If you're not, that's okay. Your listens and downloads still count. I want to give a shout out to our title sponsor, Athletic Architects. They are a great supporter of the War Rapport. So our guy Jacob there is doing some things helping athletes get their business started. So they are now, their model is they're taking care of the whole thing for you, the whole shebang. Just go to Athletic Architects, sign up with them, and they'll help you get your LLC started. There are a great many reasons to have a pass-through. So here's a little bit from them.
Young athletes need the tools for success on the field and on the court. And now more than ever, in the arena of business. In the new era of name, image, and likeness, Athletic Architects is here for young athletes and parents to help prepare for your financial futures. Let Athletic Architects start helping you build your house. Visit buildthehouse.com and let's build.
Athletic Architects, again, our tailgate sponsor. We appreciate them for being a great supporter of the War Rapport. Visit buildthehouse.com. LLC started today.
Guys, be sure before you head on out, share this video, guys, on your social medias, Facebook, Twitter. Use hashtag #GetYourWeight Also, like this video. And if you're new to our channel, subscribe, especially if you're enjoying the content, because we will go live if news breaks outside of our normal, regular scheduled programming. So definitely want to be subscribed so you're plugged into what we're producing and putting out there on a weekly basis for you guys. Also, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, you can find us at The War Rapport. And if you're a TikToker, you can find us at TW Rapport. That's it for now, guys. Got some great content coming up this week. But until then, enjoy the rest of your weekend. And as always, War Eagle.
War Eagle.